Hi, I'm Marianne and welcome to Cheese Chat, where I interview other home cheesemakers and also professional cheesemakers. Today I'm very fortunate. I have with me Heather Barnes, who is a home cheesemaker based out of Hamilton, Ontario. Welcome to Cheese Chat.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Well, we're so happy to have you. And look what Heather has brought. Did you make all of these cheeses yourself?
I did.
That is incredible. How long have you been making cheeses?
Well, my first journey into cheese making started about 35 years ago when I had an Iranian friend, and she served this feta that was quite a soft feta than compared to what we have here, and it was just marvelous. And so I asked her, how did you make this? And she showed me that her family had been making this cheese like this for generations, using yogurt and milk, and so I went home and made it.
So you learned 35 years ago?
Yes, just with soft cheeses. My venture into hard cheeses actually started in May this year.
So you learned how to make all of these hard cheeses within 1 year?
Yes, less than 1 year.
That's amazing. So you obviously love making cheeses, the soft ones and the hard ones. And do you find it's an interesting hobby?
Maybe obsessive would be a better word.
Yeah, what do you find so rewarding about cheese making at home?
Well, my family love cheese, and we have actually been known to forego Christmas dinner and just eat nibblies like cheese or charcuterie, things like that. When my daughter went to a cheese store and spent $80, and we enjoyed these marvelous cheeses, and it was sort of inspiration to me to, I'm gonna break into the world of hard cheeses.
Do you find that it's economical to make cheese at home? Is it actually cheaper?
The way I'm doing it, for sure. It may not be as, I think it's difficult to compare what I'm doing here to, the hundreds of years that are behind a lot of the cheeses that you would buy in a really good cheese store. Their cultures are unique to the region, and you just can't replicate that. Mm-hmm. And I'm making all of these cheeses with homogenized, pasteurized milk from a big box store.
I know a lot of professional cheesemakers would encourage you just to use raw milk, but we don't have access in the suburbs or the big cities to raw milk. And sometimes you just have to use what you've got access to, which is pasteurized and homogenized milk from the grocery store.
And the other thing that I have been doing is, because I started this right in the middle of COVID, and I wasn't sure whether I was going to want to invest in a lot of things. And so all of these cheeses are also made using cultured buttermilk and organic yogurt from the grocery store.
So you are not using freeze-dried bacterial or fungal cultures?
No, I'm not.
That's amazing.
I may venture into that, but all of the cheeses on this board are made just using buttermilk and yogurt, and anybody can do that. Everybody has access to that.
To yogurt from the store?
Yes.
With an active bacterial culture?
Yes.
So why don't you tell us about these beautiful cheeses that you've brought?
Well, where do you want to start?
Let's start here with what looks like two different colors of the same cheese.
So that is in the style of Gouda, or Gouda if you're Dutch. And I made this cheese, and I did it because I wanted to try a washed curd cheese. And so I've kind of been making my way through different styles. And when it came out of my press, I looked at it and knew that there was no way it was going to fit comfortably into my cheese fridge, my cave. So I cut it in half and decided to smoke half of it. So this darker color one has been cold smoked with apple wood, and then the other side is just as it is. And the other side tastes a little bit young for me. So I may end up smoking the other side and double smoking this side.
Well, I'm curious to taste them both and see how they differ. Can we try?
Yes, we certainly can.
All right. Which one should we try first?
Try the unsmoked first.
Okay.
That's au naturel.
Guess to you. Piece for me. Whoops. Ooh, I love the texture. There we go.
So you can see I have a few mechanical holes in it.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. Great texture.
Creamy.
Creamy and mild. It's delicious.
A little buttery.
This is like I would find in the store. Like it's like a professionally made cheese.
Well, thank you.
Well, this one is soft, I find, and definitely young, as you said. Now I would love to try the smoked version because I have to compare it. I'm just dying to compare it. There we go.
Thank you.
Okay, let's try. There's definitely a smokiness, almost like hints of cinnamon. I think it's delicious.
It's a good cheese. I'm happy with the texture and with the flavor. It's not. Sometimes some of the hickory smoked ones are quite strong, and that's why I chose applewood.
Well done with that. Tell us about some of the other cheeses. Like this one, looks like it has some kind of herb in it.
Yes, it does. Now, I'm part of an online cheese forum called Learn to Make Cheese. I think it was 4 months ago, they had sort of a challenge, a cheese challenge. And it was a derby. And so I did this sage in the style of a sage derby. And this is sage grown in my backyard.
It's beautiful.
And it's probably like a cheddar in some ways, but I made it for Canadian Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So that it would be ready for Canadian Thanksgiving.
So how many months old is this one?
4?
4 months. Oh, by the way, are these all cow's milk cheeses?
They are.
They are, okay.
Yeah.
So you dried the sage first, I suppose?
No.
Oh. Well,
I chopped it really, really finely, and I poured boiling water over it.
Okay.
I also chopped up some baby spinach very finely, and actually used a liquidizer to try and get a little bit more color, because I had noticed that sometimes with just using the sage alone, you don't get the mottled effect that I was looking for. And so the hot water sterilizes it, brings out the oils of the sage, and gives a really nice earthy flavor to the cheese.
All right, well, let's try that. I'm really curious to see how strong the sage flavor comes through.
Yes, I was a bit scared, I have to say. So I'll let you taste it.
And you've tasted it before.
I did. We had it at Grace Star Thanksgiving table.
And the sage is on the outside, not on the inside.
No, it's all the way through it. It's milled through when you mill in the salt.
Oh, that has a nice aroma.
Yeah.
You can smell an herb. Just like at first inspection, that's not just cheese. That's definitely an herb, but it's not overpowering, which is what I like.
No.
Okay, let's try. I think it takes 5 seconds for the back of your tongue, I think, to detect the herbs in the cheese. At first, you just taste the cheese by itself, the buttery hints, a bit of like caramel or something like that. And then that spinach and the sage in the back of your mouth starts activating. That's very good.
A little sharpness, the little sharpness of like the cheddar. And just really nice, earthy, warm taste to it. So the sage isn't overpowering.
Not at all.
Which I think is good, because I think when you put an herb in a cheese, you want a real marriage of the two. You don't want one of them to overpower the other.
Exactly. You want a complement of flavors, for sure. That is amazing. Now, let's jump to the other side of the cheese board here. This looks like a black truffle, but of course it's not. It's a cheese.
It is a cheese.
Tell us about this.
So this is in the style of Belper Knolle, which is an Alpine cheese from Switzerland. And it's normally rolled in black pepper. And my family is a real fan of this cheese. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. So you can just leave it hang out in your fridge till it gets almost dried and grate it like a Parmesan. Or you can do it more like an aged rind where you keep it in a box and it'll be a little bit softer. Or this one I actually vacuum packed this one. And I played with this one. So this was a batch that had 5 little balls, 3 of which got rubbed in herbes de Provence and then wrapped in grape leaves from my grapevine.
Oh, how beautiful.
And again, it's a bit of an experiment. And they just hung out on a mat in my fridge and they were fantastic. But then I made 2 with like an espresso rub. And because my daughter really likes another cheese that has coffee on the outside. So this was sort of, let's see what it's like.
So this has coffee on the outside?
It does.
Espresso grounds, is that what it is?
Yes, very, very fine.
I feel hesitant to cut into it, but we have to. We must
cut away
into the cheese. I want to open it up so everyone can see the inside. Oh, it's quite hard. Oh, look at that. Wow. Oh my gosh. Look at that. That's amazing. What an amazing smell.
Yes, it is a wonderful cheese. I have never seen this cheese in a store here. It is so easy to make. It matures fairly quickly. It's a really good starter cheese because of its simplicity as well as how rewarding the flavor is.
The smell is amazing. I just want to keep smelling it actually. Wow. A lot of complex flavors happening there. There's a tanginess and a saltiness, and you can taste the coffee, but it's not overpowering. It is just blending into this cheese, and there's like hints of, I don't know.
Well, there's actually garlic in it.
That's it. Oh my gosh. So is it a dried garlic that you added?
No, it's fresh garlic, and I use a mortar and pestle and grind it up really finely with the salt. I make a paste. Salt kills botulism, and if you've done any research on making cheese, raw garlic and cheese is a no-no.
Yes.
But by milling it with the salt, apparently botulism doesn't like salinity, and so.
Wow. Do you think a beginner cheesemaker could make that?
Yes.
Is that a recipe you'd be willing to share?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so maybe if you provide it to us, I'll put it in the description below. So even beginners or anyone who's not done that recipe before can try it, because it is spectacular, delicious.
And it looks spectacular on a cheese board, I think.
It does. So we have 2 more cheeses to try, and this one looks like it could possibly be a wine-soaked cheese?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a Tuscano al Vino. It has a mixture of both thermophilic and mesophilic culture.
Okay, so that's not using just buttermilk, that was using freeze-dried
No,
cultures?
that's still with my buttermilk and my yogurt.
Amazing. So how many months old is this?
It's about 5 months old.
So can we try it? I'm curious if the rind is going to have a red wine flavor.
We can.
Okay,
We can.
so how long do you have to soak it in red wine?
I think about 3 days. I put it in a Ziploc bag with the wine.
To coat all the surface?
Yes, and then it dries, and then you do it again.
It definitely seems much firmer than the other cheeses that we've tried.
Yes.
It's almost got the texture of an Emmental or a Swiss.
Yes.
Oh, yes, you definitely can smell the red wine. That is delicious smelling. It's as if you're smelling a glass of red wine. Like, it's that pronounced. I think that one's my favorite so far.
A lot of people say that. So it's been very popular.
Okay, we have one more cheese to try, and that is this one here.
And that is a 6-month-old Cotswold, which again comes from the UK.
Okay, also in the cheddar family.
Also in the cheddar family.
Okay.
And that one has the addition of chives and garlic. So I think chives is the traditional addition, and I've added just a bit of garlic powder as well.
So there's chives, you can see some of the colored chives inside,
Yes.
and the garlic. And I would like to take a smell and see if I can smell both of those. Oh, it's quite firm.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, as it's aged.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Oh, I can smell the chives just cutting into it. There we go. Yes. Not so much the garlic. The garlic isn't very strong.
No.
But the chives are definitely there. You can taste the garlic. But it's not too strong.
No, it's just a little bit of a hint there. And also the chives, just a little bit of a hint.
Yeah.
But the flavor of this cheese, to me, for just being buttermilk, is amazing.
It is, very much so. And store-bought milk.
Yes, and store-bought milk.
It's amazing. Well, Heather, I am amazed at all of these cheeses that you've made yourself within the last year.
Yes.
And they taste amazing. The texture is right on. They rival what you can get in the store. And if we can do it, you can too. We really want to encourage you to try and make cheese at home. It's so rewarding.
There's just no words to describe putting together a charcuterie board, putting these cheeses on it, and presenting it to your guests or your family, and knowing that each one of those you have individually put love. And anybody who makes cheese knows that sometimes it's a fraught journey to get to where you get that cheese that comes out of the press. But yeah, and to have something that, wow, this is amazing, that it has an amazing taste. It's very rewarding.
Yes, and the good thing about it, it's not like baking a loaf of bread or a cake where it's good for a few days. This can last for a year or two or more, and it all depends on how you want to store it or how long you want to age it, and the flavor profile will change.
Yes.
As the months go on.
Yes.
Like it just even gets better and better tasting. So
well, and the thing that I really love is it's made it affordable. If you buy Cotswold, it's about $110 a pound.
holy cow, that's a lot.
That is a lot. I mean, there might be stores that you can buy it, but I've noticed that's what the price of it online is, if you can find it. But there's a store that will ship it, and it's $110 a pound. And that Cotswold probably cost me less than $20 to make. And that's a huge difference.
Right, and that would be particularly interesting for homesteaders.
Yes.
Who really want to milk their own cows, make their own cheese, and save a lot of money that way. Well, thank you so much for joining me on Cheese Chat. Heather, you've been a fabulous guest.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and this has been so much fun.
Well, you've shared your knowledge and expertise about making all of these cheeses at home, and it makes me and hopefully the viewers feel that they can do it too.
Yes, give cheese a chance.
That's right. Try and make cheese at home. It's so rewarding. You can always look at some of the videos or cheese making tutorials that I've done on this channel before if you want to learn something new. But until then, we hope you come back to give cheese a chance and watch Cheese Chat videos. Make sure you click like and subscribe so you can see our videos in the future. So have a great day. I'm Marianne, and this is Heather signing off for Cheese Chat.